Thanks for joining us on Bobbye and Tonilee UnPlugged, where the message is always truthful, authentic, and inspiring. For more information on Bobbye and Tonilee UnPlugged, visit bobbyeandtonilee.com. And now, the best of Bobbye and Tonilee. This is the Spiritual Warfare Bible Study by Bobbye Brooks and Tonilee Adamson at Celebrate Church of the Nazarene in San Diego, California.
So for me, I ended up quitting this job due to health issues because I refused to quit this job when he told me to. Refused. I will not quit this job. So God took me out of this job. He will take you out one way or the other. And I waited on the Lord for another good 18 months until I surrendered. Waiting, during that time of waiting, I opened the Bible and I began to read the Bible. I didn't know what else to do. I was raised Southern Baptist. I went to Sunday school. I knew all the Bible stories, but I had never actually read through the Bible. And I'm angry at God, by the way. I don't like this position that I'm in. And I didn't think it was fair. Because when you lose your job or you lose something because He's done it, it doesn't feel so good. You don't see victory in that at the moment. All right? And that's okay. That's human. That's okay to feel that way. That's an emotional part of it. But do not be deceived by this, because the enemy will build on this from the pit of hell. The Lord's hand is upon you. His Spirit is upon you during this time. I believe in the waiting season is the strongest period of time that the Spirit of God's hand is upon us. Because we are being tested and we are being tempted at the same time. When the Israelites were walking through the desert and God had promised them the promised land, they're going to the promised land, land of flowing with milk and honey. They had this great thing to look forward to, but they're not there yet. What are they doing? They're having to wait. He takes them to the base of this mountain and says, "Park it. You're going to sit here." They don't know why. Why are we not moving? We're sitting at the base of this mountain, and Moses says, "Oh, but don't come too close to it, because if you come too close, you're going to be dead." And then Moses disappears, climbs up in the mountain, and disappears into a cloud. And they wait. And they wait. And they wait. And they wait. Until one day somebody says, "Who is this man, Moses? Do we really know this man, Moses? Who is this? He's not leading us anywhere. We need to start worshiping the golden calf again." So they build the golden calf. That's how it came about, because they became so impatient they did not want to wait. And we know the rest of the story. Moses came down. God said, "Get down there and deal with your people." Moses is like, "My people? Not my people. I'm sick of these people. They're your people, right?" But this is what happens with people sometimes too. You see, there's sometimes we are in situations that we want to get out of. And God says, "Not yet. You need to wait." And we're just going, "I can't take it, Lord." And the Lord's like, "You'll know when it's time to get out of it." You see, what if they built the golden calf on the 39th day? Moses was going to be there 40 days and 40 nights. What if they'd have built it on the 39th day? What if they just could have waited one more day? You know what I mean? It's like, this is what I'm saying. You wait until God says, "Now it's time to move." And His Holy Spirit, by the power of His Spirit, you have the power to overcome the world. The world is going to say to you, "God's not listening. God's left you. What are you waiting on? You're going to have people closest to you. Why aren't you working? Why are you still with that person? Why are you still doing that? Shouldn't you be? And you're just like, you want to have an answer because it doesn't make sense. Waiting is not always logical, and we're logical people. We want to be intelligent, logical women, right? And waiting does not fit with that whenever the Spirit of the Lord is saying, you need to wait, okay? But waiting is the greatest part of living in victory, because when you can wait, and just wait, let me tell you, you talk about power. When you learn to wait in the presence of the Lord, when everything is coming at you, and it's just like this bass of a boom box, just like this, you can hear it, it's all around you, and there's all this noise, but you're just waiting. You have victory. You have power. You have the Lord. And nothing and no one can take that from you, ever. Not ever. And you need to wait. And then when God says, okay, it's time to go, trust me, that's going to make that first step a lot easier. I had spent that 18 months waiting. When I got on my knees to surrender and ask the Lord, just speak to me, Lord, that's whenever He told me to go to this Bible study. And at this Bible study, the teacher that day just happened to be Tonilee. This was in September of 2000, 15 years ago, over 15 years ago now. The hardest step I took on September 19th, 2000, was stepping out of my car and my foot hitting the pavement to take that first step onto the church grounds to go to that Bible study. I had been going to church there for 4 years. I had never been to a women's Bible study and did not know anyone in it. Petrified. So I had been in a season of waiting to the point that I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was God's hand and it was His doing, and if you want me to do this, then Lord, I'm going to do it. And I took the step. Because after waiting for that long, I was ready. What if I hadn't have? There would be no Bobbye and Tonilee today. Not only would there not be the 11th annual conference, there never would have been a Bobbye and Tonilee. I had to wait for several months of, I know what waiting is. All of you have been in seasons of waiting. You may be there now. You need to understand that this is part of the greatest victory you're going through. You need to look at it that way. Instead of being frustrated and angry, God will, watch what God begins to do in your waiting season. He'll bring people into your life. He'll put certain things in your path. He'll be doing all kinds of things. And some of them may mean that it's time to move forward, and some of them may mean, okay, I'm just setting this up. Stay in the Word, and it's by the power of His Spirit that you will know. You will know. You just will know what the Lord is telling you to do. Lastly, the third part is, makes sense. All of this, like I said, this is not some revelation of information, but it's a good reminder. This is the keys to living in victory. This is what the Bible teaches us. And the last one is what Paul says the most about persevering, enduring. Living in victory is living, not existing. You can exist. You can get up every day, your heart will beat, your lungs will function, your food will digest, you will sleep, you will go through the motions. You can exist or you can live. Now, when it comes to persevering or enduring, that means you are doing something crazy. You're doing something hard. You're doing something that's going against the grain. Otherwise, why else do you need to persevere? Why not just quit? The enemy wants you to quit. Stop. This is crazy. Give it up. Enough. Switch gears. You're going to hear all of that because that's what the world tells us. I cannot tell you how many times, I don't even think we could count the times, the people have told, certain people have told Tonilee and myself we're crazy. Crazy. Why do you continue to do this? And for some people it could be money. Why don't you just go get a job? I remember the day my husband said to me after a couple of years, whenever his commercial construction business tanked in 2008. Remember that? Well, as a contractor, that was not a good year. And in 2008, Bobbye was in the ministry full time. And we don't make money in the ministry. Churches don't make a lot of money. Ministries don't make a lot of money. And so I remember the day Tom came to me and said, you know, you need to go back to work. Well, I had been asking the Lord to send me back to work for the last 8 years. Okay? I'm still in a rebellion with God over putting me in this ministry. You know, we've got a ministry started. I'm now teaching a Bible study, and I am being obedient, but I'm doing what God has called me to do. I knew in my spirit, this is the call of my life. This is it. I'm surrendered to it. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going back to work. Okay? So what happens whenever you come to those places where people closest to us say those things? And I remember saying to him, I can't. And we had this little discussion which led to more of an argument, to which I finally said, you go to the Lord. And if God tells you I can go back to work, then please let me know. And about 2 weeks later, he came to me and he said, we will never have this discussion again. That's right. You see, do not fight the battle for them. Send them back to the Lord. Whenever you are persevering, see, I had to persevere. Tonilee and I had to just keep going. We had had a very difficult time exiting the church that we were in. We had been through some very difficult situations, and oh my goodness, I don't know how we persevered through a lot of it. I don't know how we endured. And the reason is because we couldn't. But by God's Spirit, the power of His Spirit, you will endure. You will finish the race. You will be victorious. You will live life in victory. Because every day that you get up and you follow what God is calling you to do, you are living a life of victory. Every single day. Every moment that you don't quit, you're living a life of victory. Because everybody else, let me tell you, there are so few people today, and it's sad to see it in our Christian culture, where we are not persevering. We're quitting too soon. We're not keeping the faith. And a lot of that is because we are so indoctrinated and inundated with the world. From the politics to the media, to the social media, to everything of stimuli around us that is telling us what the world thinks. What does God say? Go back and read. I mean, I don't have time to go through all the verses. We know Paul was called. Paul was the man that stood there and watched Stephen being stoned. He was the man who was sending out people to go and kill the Christians until the day came when he saw Jesus face to face, lost his sight for 3 days, and he knew from that point on This was his calling on his life. Boy, talk about a crazy calling. I mean, even the disciples had to kind of go, whoa, isn't this the Paul who was, about to kill us last week? Really? Paul had to endure. He had to persevere in a time when everybody was against him. And without Paul, we wouldn't have most of the New Testament. Amazing. What if Paul had quit? What if Paul had said, you know what, this is crazy? How many times have we said that? How many times have you said, this is crazy? I just can't do this. And here's why we quit. We quit for logical reasons. One reason we might quit is because we don't have any money. That's the biggest one. I just don't have the finances to do it. T.O. and I have never had the finances to do it. Ever. God has the finances. If you're going to wait on yourself to support something, don't. That burden is on God's shoulders. If He has called you, He will be faithful to complete the good work that He has started in you. We must go through a time of waiting. We must go through a time of stepping out. And then we must go through a time of persevering. And then we might go back to a time of waiting, and a time of stepping out, and a time of persevering. Seed, time, harvest. We put the seed in the ground, and it dies. And we wait until it comes back to life. During the waiting, a lot of times, there's parts of us that need to die so that other things can begin to come to life. And when they come to life, we need to step out. And whenever we step out, we start to get this sense of empowerment. In the beginning, we're starting to feel like, I'm ready. God's called me, I'm ready. Bring it on. Here it comes. From your best friend or the one closest to you who just takes the wind out of your sails. And they'll do it. They're not doing it. I don't want to say this, they're not doing it on purpose. They don't understand sometimes what one word can do. They're just an instrument being used at that moment. You have to know when God has called you, no matter what you hear, that fiery dart that's being shot at you, the power of God's Spirit, you just put that shield of faith up. That's why it's called the shield of faith. What is the victory that has overcome the world? Our faith. Keep the shield of faith up around at all times. You persevere. You keep going. 15 years, Tonilee and I have been doing basically Daily Disciples. 9 years ago, in 2009, we started this other company called Media for Women Enterprises. Media for Women was started because we had to, as I was saying, all of the excuses that you're going to have why you won't keep going. Money, people telling you you're crazy, I'm not educated, I'm not ordained. If you're in a ministry, I'm not qualified. If you're in a business, I haven't been to school. You can give yourself every excuse in the world. Don't, because if God's called you, He will equip you. Remember that. So whenever we were doing the ministry and we knew that, okay, we're spending money on a website, we've got to have all these tools to really grow the ministry. A website, Bible studies had to be printed, conferences cost money, we wanted to do videos, we wanted to do daily devotionals, everything's money here, money there, money everywhere. So I said, let's just bring everything in our office. We're going to learn to do this ourselves. We're going to learn social media. T.O.'s like, Facebook? Yes, this is 2009. I'm not doing Facebook. I said, well, don't worry, your kids will do it for you. So we bring everything in-house. That was 2009, 2010 was the year we stepped on stage and saw 1,200 women out in the audience. So there's results, right? So this is working, okay? Now, what happens next? Other people start noticing what we're doing. How are you doing this? Oh, well, we're on social media. Oh, yeah, I see you on social media all the time. We go to this one conference and people start coming up to us. And some of these are large ministries, large national ministries. Now, all of a sudden, they want to know who Bobbye and Tonilee are. Well, what are you doing? Well, we, innocently at that time, would help them. And finally, after a year of helping them, I realized this is not a nonprofit to help you grow yours, right? So we started this company called Media for Women Enterprises. And the goal was to help women either start their own business, and the reason that being is because in 2009, facing economic depression, which we're still in, one of the greatest opportunities in San Diego and in our country is to start your own business. And I had trained myself and learned how to do it even online without really even investing. No need for brick and mortar. And I was very confident in what we could do. We can build websites, we can do video production, we can publish your book. You don't have to go pay thousands of dollars. We set up our own publishing company. So I was very confident in it. And so we started a real corporation. It's a full-blown corporation, State of California, incorporated. Well, we go to the Bible study, and I remember one of the first times that I announced it to the Bible study, we're doing Media for Women, I just mentioned it. One of the women that we had known the longest came up to us and said, I can't believe you're doing this. I had people say to me that I left God. You just left God. One person said, God doesn't need Media for Women. We had people talking about, people were talking about me behind my back. Well, Bobbye's just trying to do her business thing. Listen, I'll tell you the same thing that happened at the conference. God called me to start Media for Women. This was not my idea to do that. It was the Lord's. I have closed down this company every single year for the last 6 years. And He keeps bringing it back.
Thank God.
Manda just published her book, and she's working with us.
Wow.
We have helped launch probably over 100 businesses. And the majority of our people that come into us, our clients, are men. They do not care that it says Media for Women. They just want results. You can't believe some of the men that are coming in that we're helping. It's kind of funny. But that being said, God won't let me quit it. We go on tour with Daily Disciples. I would say, Lord, you put me in the ministry. Just let me do the ministry. You can support the ministry. Just give us the ministry. But I want you to help others, Bobbye. They need help. And the ministry brings them to me. And I can fill them with my Spirit. And I can give them the encouragement. I can anoint them. But when they walk out the door, who's going to help them with what I've just put on their heart? Who are they going to go to? I'm raising up Media for Women to do that. You're going to help them. I said, but Lord, they think I'm nuts. He said, don't quit. Keep going. That's what He said. Persevere. Every day that we get up and do this, we're living in victory. I waited until about 3 months ago for Tonilee to agree with me on Media for Women. It's taken her that long to say, yes, I will do Media for Women. I'm not kidding. I had to wait for the Lord to awaken her heart. Amen. And she had to wait for the Lord to awaken her heart. And now we're working with ABC 10 News in San Diego. You'll probably be seeing our commercials, which, by the way, is just like, I can't believe it. We just had lunch with the president yesterday of ABC. We went to Europe with him, and he's one of the corporate presidents. We go into ABC TV, and everybody in the studio everybody knows us. It's just amazing. That's kind of like bizarre in a way, right? I really find it interesting. Who did that? God. God would not let Media for Women die. So today and every day we get up, and now we have our radio show. I've tried to quit the radio show many times. We recently tried to quit. The general manager wouldn't let us. San Diego needs your radio show. Okay, we won't quit. See, we try to quit too. This isn't easy. It's not meant to be easy. But victory is how you want to define it in your life. Do you want to just live in the agony of defeat and bear the burden, or do you want to get up every day and go, you know what, just the fact that I am up and I have overcome the world by faith because I am called the child of the living, I am a daughter of the living God.
Thanks for tuning into Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged.